Cuba Gooding Jr. and Jerry Maguire.
What's your message, Cuba? Cuba, what do you say to everyone? What do you say to the accusers?
The 1980s and 1990s were dominated by these faces that ruled the screen, set box offices on fire, and had audiences going wild. But after the spotlight and iconic roles, how have their lives changed? Do you know? Some maintained their peak, others disappeared without a trace, and some names plummeted, embroiled in shocking scandals. Have you ever wondered what happened to your idols from back in the day? If you're curious about their lives now, don't miss the upcoming video where I'll share the stories of 35 of the most beloved black actors of the 1980s and 1990s, then and now. 35. Eddie Murphy. The shocking slip that shook Hollywood at the peak of fame. Eddie Murphy is a legendary comedian and box office icon of Hollywood. In the 80s, he exploded with Beverly Hills Cop, 1984, and Coming to America, 1988, becoming one of the highest-paid comedians of his era. With his witty and sharp style, Eddie Murphy not only dominated the screen, but was also a guaranteed box office draw. But then, in 1997, a fateful night caused that dazzling image to wobble severely. On the morning of May 2, 1997, no one could have imagined that Murphy, the powerful man of Hollywood, would be caught in an unimaginable and awkward situation. Around 4:45 a.m., while driving his Lexus in West Hollywood, he stopped to pick up a stranger. This person was Adesone Sayuli, a 20-year-old transgender sex worker. The police arrived immediately and conducted a check. Murphy insisted he was just trying to help because he saw Sayuli standing alone in the dark of night. But the public didn't believe him. The incident exploded like a media bomb. Newspapers buzzed with suspicions. A $1 million star, seemingly fine, stopping his car in the middle of the night to help a stranger? Sensational headlines appeared. Eddie Murphy and the mystery of the night. The hooker, the star, and the story no one saw coming. Hollywood was shaken, advertisers panicked, and Murphy's career wavered. Notably, just a year later, Adesone Sayuli tragically died after falling from the 5th floor of a Los Angeles hotel. This mysterious death only added intrigue to Murphy's scandal. Murphy was not prosecuted, but the shockwave left his reputation struggling for years. It wasn't until the 2000s, with the success of Shrek and The Nutty Professor, that he gradually reclaimed his glory. Today, Murphy remains a comedy legend in Hollywood, continuing to appear in major projects like Coming to America, 2021, and the upcoming Beverly Hills Cop, Axel Foley. After the storms, he focuses on his family, with 10 children enjoying a more private yet luxurious life. 34. Danny Glover. The seizures that almost ruined his action career. Danny Glover, the Hollywood action legend, made waves with his role in the Lethal Weapon series, 1987 to 1998. This name is synonymous with thrilling chase scenes, intense gunfights, and the tough cop persona. But few know that before stepping into Hollywood, he fought an invisible enemy that almost destroyed his career: mysterious seizures. Glover was born in San Francisco, and from a young age he faced unpredictable seizures. His body would convulse violently, lose consciousness for a brief moment, and no one could control them. Throughout his teenage years, these seizures became a terrifying obsession. They could happen anywhere: classroom, on the street, or even while sleeping. What was most frightening was that no one understood the cause. Medicine at the time was helpless. Glover grew up fearing that this illness would trap him forever, robbing him of his dream to become an actor. But then a miraculous turning point occurred. In the late 1960s, Glover began to find ways to control his body through meditation, deep breathing, and cultivating awareness. No one believed this method would work until the seizures gradually became less frequent and eventually disappeared completely when he turned 30. A mysterious recovery that even doctors couldn't explain. Thanks to this, Danny Glover was able to dive into dangerous action scenes without fear. He became an action movie star, a strong symbol of Hollywood. Today, though in his 70s, Glover remains healthy and active, continuing to act, engage in social causes, and live a meaningful life. 33rd, Wesley Snipes. From action legend to tragedy behind bars. Wesley Snipes, the star who once dominated the screen with New Jack City, 1991, and Blade, 1998, was an icon of Hollywood action films. With his cool demeanor, martial arts skills, and spectacular fight scenes, Snipes seemed unstoppable. But no one could have predicted that from the peak of fame, he would plummet into the abyss due to one wrong decision: tax evasion. And the price was steep: 3 years in federal prison. The story started in the late 1990s when Snipes earned millions from blockbuster films, but was dazzled by a genius tax evasion scheme. Two advisors convinced him that U.S. tax laws were meaningless. Believing this, Snipes failed to pay taxes from 1999 to 2004, even requesting a refund for the taxes he'd already paid. A bold move, but the end of his career. In 2006, the U.S. government intervened. Snipes was charged with 8 counts of tax fraud, facing severe penalties. While he avoided the most serious charges, in 2008, he was sentenced to 3 years in prison. On December 9, 2010, the action star entered the McKean Federal Prison, abandoning the spotlight to live the life of a real prisoner. No privileges, no luxury. Snipes was forced to work, follow strict discipline, and be under close supervision. After nearly 3 years, on April 2, 2013, Wesley Snipes was released. But when he returned to Hollywood, everything had changed. Though he appeared in The Expendables 3, 2014, alongside Sylvester Stallone, he was no longer the top star. Blade was no longer his, big roles eluded him, and his career was a shadow of its former self. This is considered one of the most catastrophic downfalls for an action star in Hollywood history. 32nd, Denzel Washington. The chilling prophecy that brought Hollywood a great icon. Before becoming a Hollywood icon with Glory 1989 and Malcolm X 1992, Denzel Washington was just an ordinary young man, struggling to figure out his future. He once thought he would become a doctor or a basketball player. But then, one afternoon in 1975, a mysterious encounter changed everything. A strange prophecy shaped a path he had never even dreamed of. It happened at a small church in Mount Vernon, New York. Denzel, only 20 years old at the time, had no concept of acting or fame. But an elderly woman, believed to be a prophet in the community, stared at him and confidently declared, "You will travel the world and speak to millions of people." No one knew who she was, and no one understood why she chose Denzel to say those words. All they knew was that those words haunted him for years to come. At first, Denzel dismissed it. He continued to pursue a career in medicine, trying to stick with basketball. But nothing really kept him grounded. Just when fate seemed to intervene, he decided to take an acting class at Fordham University. The moment he stepped on stage, he knew this was where he was meant to be. Everything quickly fell into place. He earned an art scholarship, stepped into professional acting, and gradually rose to become one of Hollywood's living legends. Today, with 2 Academy Awards, 3 Golden Globe Awards, and numerous classic films, Denzel Washington is not only a great actor, but also a symbol of faith in destiny. If it weren't for that prophecy, would the world have the Denzel Washington we know today? 31. Morgan Freeman. the horrible accident that nearly took his life in 2008. Morgan Freeman became famous through Driving Miss Daisy, 1989, and The Shawshank Redemption, 1994. With his deep voice and composed demeanor, he became one of the most beloved actors. But few know that in 2008, he almost lost his life in a horrific accident, leaving him with lifelong painful consequences. On the night of August 3, 2008, Freeman was driving his 1997 Nissan Maxima on a Mississippi highway. At 11:30 p.m., the car suddenly lost control, veering off the road and rolling several times before slamming into a ditch. Witnesses described the scene like an action movie, the car spinning in the air before crashing violently. When rescuers arrived, they found Freeman trapped, shockingly alert. Despite his severe injuries, he joked, "Just a bad day." But the truth was far more serious. He suffered broken bones in his left arm and shoulder, requiring a 4-hour surgery. While he survived, Freeman developed chronic nerve pain, leaving his left arm almost paralyzed. Since then, at every event, he has kept his hand hidden in his suit pocket, an everlasting mark from the accident. Despite the constant pain, Freeman did not give up. Just a few months later, he returned with Invictus, 2009, earning his 5th Oscar nomination. To this day, even though he endures daily pain, he continues to contribute to cinema, becoming an immortal legend in Hollywood. 30. Samuel L. Jackson, A Dark Past Before. Becoming a star, drugs, violence, and even a near-death experience. Before becoming one of the highest-grossing actors in Hollywood history, Samuel L. Jackson had a chaotic past beyond imagination. Not only was he heavily addicted to drugs, but he also nearly faced prosecution for his involvement in political riots. In the 1960s, Jackson was a student at Morehouse College, where he participated in the civil rights movement and was monitored by the FBI for his radical actions. The climax came in 1969 when he, along with a group of students, kidnapped members of the school's Board of Trustees, including Martin Luther King Jr.'s father, to protest the school's admissions policy. As a result, he was suspended for a year and almost went to prison. During that time, he sank deeper into addiction. By the 1970s and 1980s, he was heavily addicted to cocaine and heroin, living aimlessly. In 1991, when Jackson was at his lowest point, his wife and daughter decided to take action. They hired someone to take him to a rehab center in New York while he was half-conscious, giving him no choice in the matter. At the center, Jackson faced the harsh truth. If he didn't change, he would die. A few months later, he emerged with a resolve to turn his life around. The opportunity came immediately. Director Spike Lee cast him as a cocaine addict in Jungle Fever, 1991, a role that mirrored his own life. His performance was so exceptional that the Cannes Film Festival created a special award just for him. Later, he took on the legendary role of Jules Winfield in Pulp Fiction, 1994, propelling him to Hollywood stardom. Since then, he has appeared in over 150 films with a total box office gross of over $27 billion, becoming one of the highest-grossing actors of all time. From a drug addict to one of the highest-grossing actors in history, Samuel L. Jackson stands as a living testament to one of Hollywood's most spectacular comebacks. 29. Larenz Fishburn. The life-threatening decision falsifying his age to star in the brutal Vietnam War movie. Larenz Fishburn is a legend for his role as Morpheus in The Matrix, but few know that his start was anything but ordinary. At the age of 14, he lied about his age to join the brutal Vietnam War film Apocalypse Now, 1979. In 1976, when Francis Ford Coppola was casting, Fishburn claimed he was 16 to be eligible. He wanted the opportunity so badly that he was willing to risk everything. Coppola was impressed, and gave Fishburn the role of Tyrone Mr. Clean Miller, a young soldier in the Vietnam War. What Fishburn didn't anticipate was that this film would throw him into a 2-year nightmare where war was no longer just acting. The shooting took place from 1976 to 1977 in the Philippine jungles, a harsh environment that was just as brutal as the real battlefield. Storms, diseases, accidents, and horrific living conditions drained the cast. Fishburn, just a teenager, had to live with alcohol, drugs, guns, and violence. Martin Sheen, the lead actor, suffered a heart attack on set due to the extreme stress. Marlon Brando refused to learn his lines, causing the shooting schedule to stretch endlessly. For Fishburn, the biggest shock came when his character was shot and killed in the film. Just a day after the scene was filmed, a crew member was actually murdered in a nearby violent incident. This eerie coincidence made Fishburn realize this wasn't acting anymore. He had truly entered a war. Eventually, Apocalypse Now was completed in 1977 and released in 1979 as a masterpiece. Fishburn, at 17, walked away from the film with a soul that was never the same. But instead of letting it haunt him, he used it as motivation. In the following years, he solidified his talent with Boys and the Hood, 1991, and What's Love Got to Do with It, 1993, then reached the pinnacle with The Matrix, 1999. Even today, his dedication to the art remains as strong as ever. He is not only a talented actor, but also someone who truly risked everything to follow his dream. 28th, Will Smith, the slap that destroyed a $350 million career. Will Smith was once a top-tier star who ruled Hollywood with blockbusters like Independence Day, 1996, and Men in Black, 1997. But in a matter of seconds at the 2022 Oscars, he destroyed the reputation he had spent 30 years building. Just one slap, and the whole world was stunned. On the night of March 27, 2022, the Oscars were proceeding smoothly until Chris Rock, the famous comedian, made a joke about Jada Pinkett Smith, Will's wife. "Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it." The joke referenced Jada's shaved head, a result of hair loss from an autoimmune disease, something few knew. Initially, Will Smith chuckled awkwardly, but just seconds later, he stood up, walked on stage, and slapped Chris Rock across the face, leaving millions of viewers shocked. Chris Rock was stunned, but Will Smith didn't stop there. He returned to his seat and yelled into the stunned silence of the auditorium, "Keep my wife's name out of your fucking mouth." Just 40 minutes after the slap heard around the world, Will Smith won Best Actor for King Richard 2021. But instead of joy, it marked the beginning of a nightmare. The Oscars immediately banned him from attending for 10 years, a first for a winning actor. Netflix, Apple TV+, Sony, and many other studios canceled or froze projects involving him. Bad Boys 4 was indefinitely delayed, and Netflix's Fast and Loose was canceled outright. Financial experts estimated that the slap could cost Will Smith at least $350 million in the long run. A year later, Will Smith attempted a comeback with Emancipation, 2022, but the film was a massive flop. It wasn't until 2024 that Bad Boys 4 was revived, bringing hope for his career. However, despite his efforts to make amends, the 2022 slap remains the darkest stain on Will Smith's career, turning a cinematic legend into a symbol of temper and the victim of a cruel joke. 27th, Forrest Whitaker. The vision impairment that turned him into a Hollywood legend. Forrest Whitaker is one of the most talented and unique actors in Hollywood. He rose to fame with roles that offered deep psychological complexity, from Bird, 1988, to The Crying Game, 1992. But there is one thing most people don't know. His entire career nearly got ruined because of one of his eyes. Forrest Whitaker was born with ptosis, a condition that causes his left eyelid to droop, giving him an unusual gaze. Early in his career, his distinctive appearance led him to be rejected for many major roles. Many directors suggested he get surgery to look more normal, but Whitaker refused. He believed that his eye allowed him to see the world in a unique way. Still, the condition not only affected his appearance, but also impaired his ability to judge distances, making action scenes far more dangerous. The turning point came in 2006 when he was cast as Idi Amin, the notorious Ugandan dictator, in The Last King of Scotland. This was no ordinary role. He had to gain more than 50 pounds, learn a Ugandan accent, and study the psychology of a mass murderer. But it was his half-open eyes, both melancholic and filled with danger, that gave life to the character. His performance was so exceptional that he won the 2007 Best Actor Oscar, becoming one of the few black actors to achieve this honor. But by 2010, everything had to change. His vision deteriorated significantly, and doctors warned that if he didn't undergo surgery, he might lose all sight in his left eye. After years of trying to preserve his unique gaze, Whitaker had to agree to surgery to save his sight. However, no matter how much his appearance changed, his gaze remained the signature that made him one of Hollywood's greatest actors. Even after surgery, he continued to bring that distinctive quality to his career with roles in Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, 2016, and Black Panther, 2018. 26. Delroy Lindo, the mistake that destroyed his career for a decade. Delroy Lindo, the man with the commanding voice, sharp eyes, and gritty roles, once had the chance to become one of the most powerful stars in Hollywood. He made his mark with Malcolm X, 1992, and Get Shorty, 1995. But before that, he sabotaged his own career with a single wrong decision. Delroy Lindo had a solid acting background, having graduated from the American Conservatory Theater, ACT. In the late 1970s, he started catching the attention of Hollywood with impressive stage roles. In 1979, he appeared in More American Graffiti, the sequel to the hit American Graffiti, 1973. Lindo quickly became a favorite of top directors, including Francis Ford Coppola. A once-in-a-lifetime opportunity was opening up, but just when Hollywood was about to welcome a new star, Lindo chose to walk away and return to the stage. He believed theater was true art, not commercial cinema. But reality was harsh. The plays he participated in failed, money ran out, and film opportunities disappeared. From a rising talent, Lindo fell into near unemployment for nearly a decade. By 1992, when he was almost 40, Spike Lee gave him one last chance with Malcolm X. And Lindo didn't miss it. His role as West Indian Archie brought him back, leading to a string of successful films like Clockers, 1995, The Cider House Rules, 1999, and Da 5 Bloods, 2020. Lindo could have been a legend much earlier, but he lost a decade. However, when he returned, he proved that true talent is never forgotten. 25th. Ving Rhames. The moment he rejected an award that stunned Hollywood. Few people know that veteran actor Ving Rhames was born and raised in Harlem, New York, a violent and impoverished area. He struggled with street life before earning a scholarship to the prestigious Juilliard School. But despite his strong stage background, Rhames's career truly took off when he played Marcellus Wallace, the feared mob boss in Pulp Fiction, 1994. His powerful presence and deep voice made him one of Hollywood's most memorable actors. In 1997, he portrayed the notorious boxing promoter Don King in HBO's Don King. Only in America. The role was so outstanding that it earned him a Golden Globe Award in 1998. But on January 18, 1998, all of Hollywood held its breath as an unprecedented moment unfolded at the 55th Golden Globe Awards. Ving Rhames, who had just won Best Actor, unexpectedly walked up to the stage and did something no one would have ever thought possible. He looked at Jack Lemmon, an Oscar-winning legend, and said something that left the entire audience in stunned silence. He declared that Jack Lemmon deserved the award more and immediately handed him the trophy. This unprecedented act caused the entire room to explode. Jack Lemmon was stunned, tears welling up in his eyes, and the organizers didn't know what to do. Rhames steadfastly refused to take back the award, even though Jack Lemmon tried to return it. In the end, HBO had to create a duplicate of the award to give it back to Rhames. This moment became historic. CNN called it the greatest moment in Golden Globe history. Hollywood Reporter declared, "Ving Rhames did the unthinkable in an industry where everyone fights for every award." And even though he continued to succeed in films like Mission Impossible, Dawn of the Dead, and Piranha 3D, that moment remains the defining moment of his career. 24. Charles S. Dutton. From murder convict to Hollywood star that shocked the world. Hollywood has many stories of rising from poverty, but Charles S. Dutton's journey is one of the most incredible transformations. From a convicted murderer sentenced to 8 years in prison, he emerged from the darkness to become a top actor, earning an Emmy nomination and starring in hit films like Rudy, 1993, and A Time to Kill, 1996. Behind the glitz, however, was a bloody past and years of hardship in prison. Baltimore, 1967. The streets were no place for the weak. Dutton, just 16 at the time, was familiar with brawls and weapons. One fateful night, an altercation with another young man escalated into a murder. The death came quickly. The police arrived, and Dutton was immediately arrested. At 17, he was convicted of second-degree manslaughter and sentenced to 8 years in prison. The Maryland prison was a hellhole. Violence, oppression, and stabbings occurred daily. But instead of being crushed, Dutton began to change. He read books, turned to the stage, and made the prison bars his classroom. Once in solitary confinement, he happened to read a book about theater. That book saved his life. Released in 1976, he didn't return to his old ways. He enrolled at Towson University and later received a scholarship to the prestigious Yale University. No one could believe that the man once convicted of murder was now rubbing shoulders with top artists. In the 1990s, Dutton became a familiar face on screen. In 2002, he won the prestigious Emmy Award, officially cementing his place among the finest actors. Though he no longer appears frequently on screen, Charles S. Dutton continues to work as a director, producer, and inspiration to young people. He often participates in career programs for at-risk youth, using his life story to prove that anyone can turn their life around. It's truly admirable that, in his 70s, Dutton still holds strong and continues to contribute to both the arts and society. 23rd. Cuba Gooding Jr. From Oscar glory to legal nightmare that shook Hollywood. Cuba Gooding Jr. was once a Hollywood star, leaving his mark with Boys and the Hood, 1991, and Jerry Maguire, 1996. With an Oscar in hand, he had it all: fame, money, and a wide-open career. Hollywood, 1997. The 69th Academy Awards night saw the entire room erupt in applause as Cuba Gooding Jr. was called to the stage. For his role in Jerry Maguire, he not only won the Golden Statue, but also became a cultural icon with his unforgettable line, "Show me the money." At that moment, he was the winner, the brightest star. But little did anyone know, this was to be the only peak in his career. In the years that followed, Gooding Jr. repeatedly chose the wrong scripts. From Snow Dogs, 2002, Boat Trip, 2002, to Daddy Day Camp, 2007. All flops, poorly received. When his name was almost forgotten, he made a brief return with American Crime Story, The People vs. O.J. Simpson, 2016. But this comeback was too short-lived. In June 2019, the real nightmare hit. He was arrested for harassing a woman at a bar in New York. The entire incident was caught on camera. The case sparked a wave of accusations. More than 30 women came forward, claiming to have been victims too. Multiple allegations spanning from 2001 to 2018. Hollywood turned its back on him. In October 2022, he pleaded guilty to avoid prison, but was ordered to attend rehabilitation. From the height of fame to legal scandal, from the cheers at the Oscars to the never-ending court trials, Cuba Gooding Jr. experienced an irreversible downfall. Now, instead of walking the red carpet, he faces the dark past he created. 22. Blair Underwood, a gentleman icon, struck by a divorce shock after 27 years of marriage. Blair Underwood was once the ideal Hollywood figure, handsome, talented, with a solid career, and most importantly, a devoted man, a model family man. He gained fame with Set It Off, 1996, and Deep Impact, 1998, captivating audiences with his sophisticated look and compelling acting. But then an unexpected shock came. In 2021, he announced his divorce from his wife of 27 years. In 1994, at the age of 30, Blair Underwood married Desiree DaCosta, the woman he built a life with for nearly 3 decades. They had 3 children and always appeared together as a perfect couple. No scandals, no drama. Blair always spoke of his wife with the utmost respect. But then, after 27 years, they announced their peaceful split. No fighting, no asset disputes. It was a very amicable separation, but that very peacefulness led the public to ask countless questions. Then the twist occurred. Just a year later, Blair Underwood announced he was marrying Josie Hart, the woman he called a 41-year-long friend. The public was stunned. This woman had been by his side since the beginning of his career, yet had never been mentioned in his past stories about his perfect family. The wedding took place in June 2023, with many Hollywood stars in attendance. Was this true love, late in life, or had the truth been concealed all these years? No one knows the answer except those involved, but one thing is certain. After the shocking divorce and quickly marrying his best friend, his image has become controversial. 21. Courtney B. Vance, a rising star drowned in family tragedy. Courtney B. Vance was once one of Hollywood's most talented actors. He was known for his roles in The Hunt for Red October, 1990, Dangerous Minds, 1995, and won a prestigious Emmy in 2016 for his role in The People vs. O.J. Simpson, American Crime Story. In 1997, Courtney married Angela Bassett, becoming one of Hollywood's most admired couples. They struggled for 7 years to have children and finally welcomed twins through surrogacy in 2006. With happiness, a flourishing career, Courtney seemed to have the perfect life. But then, in 2018, everything collapsed. His mother, Leslie Vance, was found dead in her home in Michigan. Her death was ruled as suicide. At 85, a woman who was always cheerful and full of energy, no one could believe she chose to leave this way. Courtney was devastated, completely crushed. He vanished from Hollywood, quietly facing the overwhelming pain. It wasn't until 2 years later that he returned with Lovecraft Country, 2020, and won his second Emmy. When receiving the award, he dedicated it to his late mother. "She always believed in me, even when I doubted myself. This is for her, my dear mother." From family tragedy, Courtney B. Vance rose strong, but the pain may never fade. 20. Giancarlo Esposito, from a bullied child to a villain icon that terrifies Hollywood. Giancarlo Esposito is not just an actor, but an icon. He became famous for his chilling villain roles, especially Gus Fring in Breaking Bad, 2009 to 2011, and Better Call Saul, 2017 to 2022. But few know that behind his cold exterior lies a life filled with struggles, discrimination, rejection by Hollywood, and a surprising resurgence at the age of 51. Born in Denmark but raised in the U.S., Giancarlo was early on faced with racial discrimination just because he had mixed heritage. His mother was African American, his father was Italian. He wasn't black enough to be given opportunities in the black community, nor white enough to be accepted in Hollywood. Throughout the 1980s and 1990s, he was only given minor, inconspicuous roles, and no matter how much he worked, he couldn't break through. Life seemed to be on a downward spiral. At one point, he almost lost all hope. It wasn't until 2009, at the age of 51, that he had his big break with the role of Gus Fring in Breaking Bad. Initially, this was just a minor role, but Giancarlo's outstanding performance made the writers change their plans. Gus Fring not only survived, but became one of the greatest villains in television history. From here, his career took off. He received an Emmy nomination in 2012. Starting in 2019, he once again terrified audiences with his role as Moff Gideon in The Mandalorian. After over 50 years of fighting against fate, he has finally found success. Unfortunately, behind the fame, he has paid a heavy price. His marriage broke down after over 20 years together. Leaving behind 4 daughters, he went bankrupt and sank into depression from feeling rejected by the world. 19. Chris Tucker, the $14 million tax nightmare of a $100 million comedy star. Chris Tucker was once one of the highest-paid comedians in Hollywood, famous for his role as James Carter in the Rush Hour series alongside Jackie Chan. With his high-pitched voice, rapid-fire delivery, and natural comedic timing, Tucker quickly became an A-list star. Tucker started with smaller roles in the 90s, but his breakthrough came in 1998 with Rush Hour. The film was a massive box office hit, making him a sensation. Rush Hour 2, 2001, was even bigger, grossing $347 million worldwide, propelling Tucker to the peak of fame. Rush Hour 3, 2007, cemented his status, making him the highest-paid comedian in the world with a $25 million paycheck. In just 3 films, Tucker pocketed over $50 million. But instead of seizing the moment, he mysteriously disappeared from Hollywood. In 2011, the horrifying truth came to light. Chris Tucker owed over $11 million in taxes, a number that grew to $14 million by 2014 due to penalties. The cause was his reckless spending habits, buying sports cars, mansions, yachts, and more without control. His accountant was negligent. Tucker never checked the paperwork, and his assets evaporated. It wasn't until the IRS cracked down that he had to panic sell his mansion and take on smaller roles to pay off his debt. Tucker tried to make a comeback with Chris Tucker, Live, 2016 on Netflix, but the fame he once had was gone. Rush Hour 4 remains indefinitely delayed. It's a tragic story of millions of dollars vanishing, tax debt piling up, and a career spiraling to the point where no one even recognized him anymore. 18. Taye Diggs. The slip that ruined his career and an unexpected comeback. Taye Diggs was once Hollywood's embodiment of masculinity, known for How Stella Got Her Groove Back, 1998, and The Best Man, 1999. He ruled the screen with his suave looks and undeniable charm. But then, Diggs slowly disappeared from Hollywood after a troubled marriage. In 2013, after 10 years of marriage to Idina Menzel, Diggs shocked the entertainment world by announcing their divorce. Immediately, rumors of infidelity surfaced, followed by an unspoken industry boycott. Directors shunned him, and his career came to a halt. But in 2018, Diggs found a way to save himself. TikTok. His humorous videos made him a viral sensation, changing public opinion. As a result, he made a memorable comeback with The Best Man. The Final Chapters, 2022, marking a turning point after years of struggle. 17. Morris Chestnut, forgotten by Hollywood, but a remarkable comeback. Morris Chestnut was once one of Hollywood's top leading men, making waves with Boys in the Hood, 1991, and The Best Man, 1999. He was the ideal man, but then his fame started to fade, and Hollywood all but forgot about him for over a decade. Since 2002, Chestnut's career stagnated. He was offered forgettable roles in failed films, and Hollywood became increasingly cold toward black actors. But he refused to accept being forgotten. In 2013, The Best Man holiday unexpectedly helped him make a comeback, opening the door to new opportunities. Today, Chestnut remains a symbol of perseverance, never letting the storm of Hollywood push him down. 16. Larenz Tate, a former superstar, and the struggle to avoid Hollywood's obscurity. Larenz Tate was once one of the brightest talents of the 1990s, breaking out with Menace to Society, 1993, and Love Jones, 1997. But then Hollywood turned its back on him. Fame crumbled, and his career withered. He virtually disappeared from the big screen for over a decade. From 1998, Tate struggled to find his footing as stars like Will Smith and Denzel Washington dominated Hollywood. He turned down many scripts that rehashed his previous roles, but that only made opportunities more scarce. Throughout the 2000s, Tate seemed forgotten, but he didn't give up. In 2017, power brought him back, ushering in a new chapter in his career. Now, he continues to push forward with passion, refusing to let Hollywood decide his fate. 15. Mekhi Phifer, from Hollywood Heights to a bankruptcy nightmare that shook the entertainment world. Mekhi Phifer was once one of the most sought-after stars with Clockers, 1995, and ER, 2002 to 2008. He was rich, famous, and lived a lavish life. But then the nightmare hit. In 2014, Phifer declared bankruptcy. His debt of over $1.3 million sank his career. From a TV star earning hundreds of thousands of dollars per episode, Phifer suddenly had nothing but a $600 watch and 2 guns in his bankruptcy filing. Hollywood turned its back on him. Money disappeared. But he didn't give up. After struggling to find new opportunities, Phifer made a return with Divergent, 2014 to 2016, and Truth Be Told, 2019 to present. Though he's no longer a superstar, his determination remains unbroken. 14. Don Cheadle, from a victim of racism to a remarkable comeback. Don Cheadle rose to fame with Devil in a Blue Dress, 1995, and Boogie Nights, 1997, but Hollywood overlooked him for many years. A talented actor, yet only offered supporting roles, undervalued because of his skin color. But he refused to bow down. In 2004, Hotel Rwanda changed everything. Cheadle shined, but also put himself in danger by boldly denouncing the world's indifference to the Rwandan tragedy. Hollywood turned away. His career wobbled. But then Marvel came into the picture, and once again, he rose to the top with his role as War Machine in 2010. From nearly losing it all, Don Cheadle is now a global star, making Hollywood take notice. 13. Michael Beach, a star rejected by Hollywood due to a shocking personal scandal. Michael Beach was a talented actor, impressing audiences with One False Move, 1992, and Waiting to Exhale, 1995. But few knew that in the late 1990s, he faced a serious personal scandal that nearly ruined his career. In 1998, at the peak of his career, Beach was accused by his ex-wife of having an affair with a colleague, using money to support his mistress while abandoning his wife and children, leaving them in debt. This shock caused Hollywood to turn its back on him, and he lost multiple major contracts. But Beach didn't give up on his passion for acting. In 2005, he returned to the screen with Third Watch and later Aquaman 2018, proving he could stand strong after the storm. 12th, Mario Van Peebles, from New Jack City hero to Hollywood outcast. Mario Van Peebles is not only a talented actor, but also a director who dared to challenge Hollywood. He rose to fame with New Jack City, 1991, a film that made millions and shook up the American film industry. However, it was that very success that made him a thorn in the side of Hollywood's power players. Right after New Jack City made a splash, Hollywood turned its back on him. Subsequent projects like Posse, 1993, were ignored, and studios refused to collaborate. Van Peebles was pushed out of mainstream filmmaking. But he didn't give up. In the early 2000s, he returned to television, quietly reclaiming his position. In 2003, he made the film Baaras, which told the story of his father making the groundbreaking film Sweet Sweetback's Baaras Song, 1971, a pioneering work in African-American cinema. The film received praise, helping him regain his standing in the filmmaking community. Although no longer in the Hollywood limelight, he remains a survivor of the harshest power games. 11th, Richard Roundtree, the Shaft legend and the battle for survival against a rare disease. Richard Roundtree, the star of Shaft, 1971, was not only a symbol of African-American cinema, but also a warrior fighting breast cancer, an illness traditionally thought to affect only women. And no one could have predicted that this rare disease would almost take his life. In 1993, Roundtree discovered a lump in his left breast. Initially, he ignored it, but soon received the shocking diagnosis: Stage 2 breast cancer. He had to undergo surgery to remove his entire left breast and endure grueling chemotherapy, all while hiding the illness for years due to shame. It wasn't until the early 2000s that he publicly revealed his battle, becoming a pioneer in raising awareness about male breast cancer. Though he passed away in 2023 from pancreatic cancer, his legacy lives on in the hearts of his fans. 10. Ernie Hudson, from orphaned kid to Hollywood Ghostbusters, star who was pushed aside. Ernie Hudson became famous for playing Winston Zeddemore in Ghostbusters, 1984. But few know that he endured a tough orphan childhood and faced an unjust career in Hollywood. Not only did he struggle to find a place in the film industry, but he also watched his role in the movie being brutally downsized. In 1984, Hudson joined Ghostbusters, a blockbuster hit. However, when the film was released, his role was significantly reduced. Many of his key lines were handed over to Bill Murray, and Winston only appeared when the film was halfway through. For decades, Hudson was ignored by Hollywood. It wasn't until Ghostbusters Afterlife 2021 that he finally received the recognition he deserved. The film earned $204 million at the box office, bringing Hudson back into the spotlight. 9. Keith David, the voice legend forgotten by Hollywood for decades. Keith David is one of Hollywood's most iconic voices, famous for his roles in Platoon, 1986, and They Live, 1988. Yet despite his powerful voice and top-notch acting, he was pushed aside by Hollywood, only being given minor roles. In 1982, he appeared in The Thing, one of the greatest horror films of all time. However, when the film failed at the box office, his career took a hit. Undeterred, he turned to voice acting, becoming the recognizable voice behind Gargoyles, Halo, and Call of Duty. Though Hollywood overlooked him, he built his own empire, becoming a legend without needing anyone's validation. 8. Robert Townsend, the risk-taker who challenged Hollywood and the price he paid. Robert Townsend is not only an actor but also a bold filmmaker who stood up against the unfair Hollywood system. When the industry refused to offer opportunities to black filmmakers, he carved his own path with The Five Heartbeats, 1991, and Meteor Man, 1993, despite all the risks. In 1986, Townsend used his own credit card to fund Hollywood Shuffle, a slap in the face to Hollywood's racism. With a budget of just $100,000, the film grossed $5 million. It was a huge success, but Hollywood didn't kneel. They continued to ignore him. Despite this, Townsend remained a trailblazer, paving the way for future black directors to rise. While he may not have major projects now, he opened doors for the next generation of filmmakers, from Jordan Peele to Ryan Coogler. 7. Obba Babatunde, an extraordinary talent dismissed by Hollywood without mercy. Obba Babatunde is a rare multi-talented artist. Acting, singing, dancing, directing, he can do it all. But despite over 400 roles, he never quite made it to A-list stardom. A talent so brilliant, it's hard to understand why Hollywood ignored him. In 1981, he took Broadway by storm with Dreamgirls, but while his colleagues exploded into film careers, he was left with minor, forgettable roles. Despite his brilliant performances in The Temptations, 1998, and Philadelphia, 1993, he wasn't given major opportunities. It wasn't until 2016, after more than 40 years, that he won his first major award, a Daytime Emmy, for his role in The Bold and the Beautiful. It was recognition far too late. 6. Clifton Powell, the villain king and the shock that nearly destroyed his career. Clifton Powell, his name is synonymous with powerful villainous roles. He made a huge impact with a series of performances in Dead Presidents, 1995, and Rush Hour, 1998. While he wasn't an A-list star, Powell was a Hollywood staple. But at the height of his career, he got caught up in a shocking lawsuit that nearly led to his being blacklisted. In 2011, Powell was suddenly sued for alleged sexual assault of a woman from 2007. Although he wasn't criminally prosecuted, the lawsuit severely damaged his reputation. Hollywood turned its back on him, and his roles became fewer. But Powell didn't give up. He weathered the storm, continuing with over 250 roles, making him one of the most enduring African-American actors in Hollywood, proving that he wasn't easy to defeat. 5. Jeffrey Wright, from giving up law to betting it all and becoming a star genius. Jeffrey Wright is one of Hollywood's most outstanding actors, known for his roles in Basquiat, 1996, and Ride with the Devil, 1999. But before stepping onto the screen, he shocked his family by giving up a promising career in law to chase the spotlight on stage. In 1987, Wright graduated with a degree in political science from Amherst College. His future seemed set: go to law school and become a successful lawyer. But after just one summer of trying acting, he decided to abandon everything, despite strong opposition from his family. That daring decision changed his life forever, turning him into one of Hollywood's most talented and respected actors today. 4. David Alan Grier, losing his father, a broken marriage, and the journey to find himself. David Alan Grier, a comedy legend in Hollywood, known for In the Army Now, 1994, and Jumanji, 1995. But behind his shining career are deep losses, emotional shocks, and numerous falls that seemed impossible to recover from. In 1978, at the age of 22, Grier lost his father, renowned psychologist William Henry Grier. The shock was so profound that he almost gave up acting. But he chose to turn his grief into motivation, diving into the arts with a fervor. From Broadway to In Living Color, 1990, he left a deep mark, but his career wavered in the 2000s. To make matters worse, his marriage also collapsed in 2009, causing a breakdown in his spirit. But then he rose again, winning a Tony Award in 2021, proving his resilient spirit and transforming his pain into strength. 3. Bill Duke. Bullied as a child, close to cancer, yet still becoming Hollywood's big guy. Bill Duke, the face of cold, brutal villains in Predator, 1987, and menaced the Sekou Society, 1993. But few know that before becoming an icon, he was a skinny, shy boy, mercilessly beaten every day on his way to school. But he didn't give up. Duke threw himself into training, transforming into a giant standing 6 feet 4 inches, making bullies fear him. Hollywood gave him fame but stifled his career with prejudices. Refusing to bow down, Duke shifted to directing, creating timeless works. In 2005, prostate cancer nearly took him down. But as always, Duke fought, survived, and continued to become a legend in the film industry. 2. Mykelti Williamson. Forrest Gump. Took him to the top, but a stab almost ended everything. Mykelti Williamson, the actor who made the world cry with his role as Bubba in Forrest Gump, 1994, and left a strong impression in Heat, 1995. But after the glory, he fell into a brutal shock. Misunderstood as a mentally disabled actor, his career spiraled downward. To make matters worse, in 1998, Williamson was involved in a stabbing incident, almost facing 12 years in prison. The police arrested him right at the scene. The media headline read, "Forrest Gump actor arrested for murder." His career seemed over, but Williamson fought back. He was acquitted and returned stronger with roles as police officers and soldiers. Today, he's Hollywood's steel face, proving that nothing can take down a true warrior. 1. Glynn Turman. Enduring a tragic marriage with Aretha Franklin and being ignored by Hollywood for decades. Glynn Turman, a veteran actor famous for Cooley High, 1975, and Gremlins, 1984, was once the hope of Black Hollywood. But he was forgotten by the very industry that should have embraced him, and his greatest tragedy was his heartbreaking marriage to Aretha Franklin. In 1978, he married Aretha, the Queen of Soul, but this wasn't a fairy tale. Aretha's children didn't accept him. Their family life was marred by alcohol and distance. After 4 years, they separated, quietly divorcing. After the divorce, Turman lost his shine, and Hollywood abandoned him. But in 2004, The Wire helped him turn the tables. He then went on to star in House of Lies, 2012 to 2016, and How to Get Away with Murder, 2017 to 2018. In 2008, he won an Emmy for a guest role on In Treatment. Now, at the age of 77, Glynn Turman still acts and remains one of Hollywood's most underrated legends, a man who has been through it all, glory, tragedy, and neglect, but continues to pursue his passion. The 35 actors we've just looked back on, some still hold their brilliance, while others have faded into the shadows. Time has changed everything, but the memories of their iconic roles live on in the hearts of audiences. Who impressed you the most? Which part of their lives surprised you the most? Leave a comment below. Don't forget to like if you found this video interesting and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the next secret stories behind Hollywood's spotlight.